My name is Samuel Cord Landsborough, but all my family just call me Cord. I'm a Lance Corporal and I serve with the 2nd Battalion of the Argyll and Sutherland Highlanders. I was born at Waterside, Ayrshire, on the 18th of April 1921, and I'm the son of Henry Landsborough and Jean Boyle. My dad was a coal miner and we stayed at 56 Brick Row, Waterside, just a typical wee Ayrshire mining village. I'm the youngest of 6 children, 3 boys and 3 girls. My 2 brothers and I would eventually become miners in the pits in Daly. We didn't have to enlist as we were exempt from conscription because of our jobs, but I felt it was my duty to serve and I really didn't want to be stuck in Daly when all the other young lads were away on this big adventure. We were deployed to Malaya and Singapore from India in September of 1939 as part of the 12th Indian Infantry Brigade, and we began a period of an intense jungle training, earning us the nickname the Jungle Beasts. We fought hard in the Malayan campaign and inflicted many casualties on the Japanese, but we were exhausted and severely depleted. We returned to Singapore and for 16 days we fought intensively, running ambushes to try and slow the enemy's advance, but the surrender came on the 15th of February 1942. Singapore had fallen into Japanese hands. 2 days later, on the 17th, we were marched to Changi, and then in June our journey began from Changi to Thailand and on to build the Death Railway in Burma. We entered our new camp on the 5th of November 1942. I was transferred again to another Thai camp in 1943, and then in June of 44 we were all sent back to Singapore and kept in a transit camp for several days. Together with over 1,200 British and Dutch prisoners of war, we were marched about a mile and a half to Singapore harbour and onto a ship called the Hifukumaru. These ships were floating dungeons, and we were deprived of air, space, light, toilets, food and water. There were many deaths. Some were execution, some were just caused by the horrendous beatings dished out by the guards, but most came from starvation or thirst. We received 18 ounces of rice a day, a minuscule amount of mixed veg, and about a pint of water. We had no room to sit down or lie down to sleep, not that we'd want to. The flares were awash with human waste. We went via Borneo and Manila, and our destination was Korea. We sailed in convoy with 5 other ships, but as we approached Borneo, our ship broke down. The others carried on in their journey, and we spent 3 weeks in Borneo. We joined another convoy and then sailed to Manila. We lost 20 men. They died between Singapore and Manila, and then we lost another 96 at Manila Harbour when we spent 5 weeks there. We were all sick with disease and starved, and more than often we were beaten by iron staves by the guards. On the 20th of September 1944, we were in a convoy with 10 other ships that had left Manila. The next day, on the 21st of September, in a 6-minute period, we were all attacked by more than 100 American torpedo bombers, and all 11 ships were sunk. The ships carried no markings indicating that there were prisoners of war on board. The Hifukumaru was hit by 3 torpedoes and sunk in 3 minutes, just northwest of the tip of Bataan Island. We had no life jackets. These had been taken off us as we were using them as pillows. They were only light pieces of wood tied with rope anyway. The Japanese destroyers picked up the crew, but left the prisoners of war. Some managed to swim ashore. Others were picked up clinging to pieces of wood just hours later. Only 242 survived. 1,047 died, including me. My body was never recovered, and I'm remembered on the Singapore Memorial alongside 24,300 others. There were 134 of these Japanese hell ships, which carried around 126,000 Allied prisoners of war. Nearly 1,600 of these prisoners of war died due to the conditions on board the ships, but more than 19,000 deaths occurred as a consequence of Allied attacks. My name is on daily war memorial and daily church panels. My name is Samuel Cord Landsborough, and I will forever be 23 years old.